Hey everyone, welcome to another sit down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. And if you recall, this past Monday, we did Mob Movie Monday. We reviewed season 2, episode 13. It was called The Fun House. And it's the one where Big Pussy got killed off. Great comments. Thank you very much. Enjoyed what all of you had to say. And today, my very special guest is Vincent Pastore. He played Big Pussy, you all know him, and the first time that you probably recognized him was in the HBO Gotti movie with Armand Assante. You know I love that film. He played Angelo, Ruggiero, guy that I knew well. So it's great to have him aboard. We got him by Zoom. You know I'd rather sit in person. You're going to watch. We may be doing that at some point in time. But today, my good friend, Vincent Pastore. First of all, I love your entire body of work because with me, anytime I watch any kind of mob-related film, it's all about authenticity. That's it. And you nail it every time. I became a big fan of your work going way back to the first HBO Gotti movie when you played Angelo Ruggiero. I mean, you killed the role. I knew Angelo pretty well, and I don't know if you studied him or not, but you just killed the role.
I tell you what happened. I had gone in to audition for the director, Robert Harmon. And, he knew my cousin, and I had worked with him before, and he gave me the role. And I was uptown, and I was having a couple of drinks, and I got beeped. We didn't have, cell phones back then. I got beeped. So I went to the payphone, and I called up my agent. I said, "What's up?" They said, "Where'd you go?" I says, "I'm celebrating. I got the part." They said, No. Armand Assante is waiting for you. So I went back downtown, and Armand was there, and he was sitting at the end of the table, and he wasn't Armand, he was John Gotti, and he started talking to me, and I had to become Angelo. And then he says, "Okay, now you got the part." And he turned around and he said to the director, "I want Vinny to come to Toronto 2 weeks before we shoot and hang out with me." And that's what happened. And I remember some of the guys came up to see us work, and they said the same thing, that I was nailing it. But even the kid, John Gotti Jr., said to me over dinner one night, he said, "Vinny, you nailed Angelo." But I met him once. It was weird. I was coming out of the Mulberry Street bar, and I was doing State of Grace. And I was walking up the street, and he was walking down the street with John and Sammy. And I never thought that years later I would play that guy. Isn't that something?
It is something, but I got to tell you, it's eerie how good you were in that role. Because I knew him fairly well. I mean, I didn't hang out with him all the time, but I knew him fairly well. And just your mannerisms and the way you spoke, I mean, you really nailed it. I got to tell you. So I became a fan at that point. I got to tell you this. I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos, but I always talk that movie up. I think it's one of the top 3 movies ever made in this genre. Armand Assante was amazing as Gotti. Anthony Quinn, I got to tell you, he was just so great. Every scene just came alive. Every scene. It was one of the best ever done.
We were up in Toronto shooting, and Anthony, he was with his new wife, the young wife, and they had the baby. And the baby must have been like 9 months old. And Quinn says, "Here, hold the baby." I said, "What?" He says, "Hold the baby." And I said, "How does it feel to have a baby at your age?" He says, "Makes me feel young."
You know, Vinny, that one scene when he walked into the bar and he called John and he was upset because he had been fighting for his life all night. That one scene, I'm telling you, I don't know if anybody ever played a better scene in that life than he did at that point. It was so good.
He said, "These 2 zips gonna whack you."
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. He nailed it. Yeah. Well, did you know Neil?
I did, yeah, of course.
Because other people in other versions played Neil, but they say Quinn nailed it.
He was terrific. I mean, all of you did. All of you did. I always say Armand played Gotti better than Gotti played himself. He was that good. But you all nailed it. Everybody in that movie was just terrific. I mean it. I don't know how many times I saw it, but I can probably recite it from start to finish.
working on that project more than Sopranos, and I'll tell you why. We had a lot of freedom. The opening scene, we're all sitting around the table. Armand insisted, and Sirico put a gallon of wine underneath, and we were drinking. And I mean, actors are not allowed to do that, but that made the scene real.
Yeah.
Well, we were drinking and we were making up lines, and that's how Armand worked. And the scene when I was on the dock and I was smoking, and he took the cigarette out of my mouth and threw it down. I didn't know he was going to do that. And the cannoli scene, I had no idea he was going to pull that off.
I was going to say, how much of that was improvised?
I recently thought
Yeah. Well, it was scripted, and it was originally called King of the Volcano.
Uh-huh.
That's what the screenplay was.
Really?
King of the Volcano. And then they changed it to Gotti. But it was a great script, but we had freedom. Michael, Sopranos, you didn't get freedom. You couldn't improvise. You had to do it word for word with David Chase.
Yeah, huh?
And there's a bad. I mean, Scorsese don't work like that. Coppola don't work like that.
Well, I recently, in the last couple of months, I've been speaking to Armand. I'm probably going to meet him on the 23rd for that Gotti reunion. Are you going to be there?
I can't do it because I'm running around with Sharippa and Michael Imperioli doing this thing called Conversations with Sopranos. And the promoters are saying that MobCon is a conflict of interest for all of us.
Really?
Because we're doing the Borgata, and that's that. Atlantic City's crazy, man. You play one casino, they don't want you doing another casino. So I had to tell Federico Michael I couldn't do it, but I wanted to do it. But me and Michael and Steve, we started this thing pre-pandemic, and we went to Australia, and we did a lot of cities. And it's a show. It's called Conversations with Sopranos, where a comedian or a band opens up, and then they show clips from Sopranos, Sharippa's clips, Michael's clips, and then my clips, and then we come out there and we get interviewed, and then we do Q&A with the audience, and then we do a photo op, and it's a nice night. It's an intimate night, and we have ahead of us 15 cities in Europe, and already like 5 cities up in Canada, and it's all coming back because we couldn't do any work during the pandemic. So it's coming back. We're doing Staten Island, we're doing Borgata, we're doing a lot of things, and it's coming back. And I respect what the guys want. They said, let's keep this art thing. So I hope Armand don't get mad at me.
Nah.
But I'll get in trouble.
I'm sure he understands.
Trouble?
No, I'm sure he understands. And remember, he's not Gotti. He's Armand, so he's not going to hurt you. Don't worry about it. No, that's good.
I saw him 3 weeks ago.
Did you?
At the Soprano poolside thing. We had a blast.
Yeah.
And that's when we were talking about, he said, Vinny, why don't you do the MobCon? I said, I can't do Sopranos. He said, sit with me. And I said, let me see. But then they said, no. And I said, that ain't right. This movie's got to do with Sopranos. But then the Borgata says you can't do it. So I don't know. I don't even know if I should be talking about it, but I'm talking to you like a priest right now.
Yeah, that's the business. People understand. What are you going to do?
That movie made my career.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt. From there, they knew that, that was a role you could kill. Any kind of mob guy you can kill. No problem.
I just finished working on a project that they said you can't talk about, but I'm going to talk about it because it's about our time. It's about the disco days. And it's about Casablanca Records. The guy, Neil Bogart, he started Casablanca Records. He discovered Donna Summer, Kiss, but he was mob connected because he was a compulsive gambler. So that's where I come in. And I worked my ass off on the role. And actually, Sharippa referred me. We do that. And after I wrapped, the kid who wrote this thing, it's about his father, Timmy and Brad Bogart. They hugged me and they said, we're so glad you did this part. I said, nah, this is a dream role. I said, I'm going to be on your show and Good Day New York. No, don't talk about it yet. I said, why not? No, don't talk about it yet. So it's the movie, I can't talk about it yet.
Let me add something to that. When you said Neil Bogart was mob connected, you know how many times I was in his office with my father? Neil Bogart, Haim Mizrahi, Phil Steinberg, Casablanca Buddha Records. My dad was involved with them.
So then you know what the story's about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're at PS203 now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, something to do with his license plate, but that's just the working title. They're going to come out, I think they're going to call it Spinning something. But it's got a good cast. It's got Jeremy Jordan as the lead, and he's good. He plays Neil Bogart. He's on the money. But what's his name? Sebastian Maniscalco?
Yeah, the comedian.
He's got a big part. He plays the guy who was Donna Summer's manager.
Okay.
So your father used to, oh, this is funny.
I used to go up their office all the time, and then Neil later on, he came out to California. But when they were in New York, I was there all the time. Casablanca Buddha Records. My father was involved. As a matter of fact, my father's got his name on one of the labels, I think from the Shangri-Las. They had the Shangri-Las too. They had all of those bubblegum acts back then. Yeah, so I used to go. It was my favorite place to go with my dad. It was up to their offices. We had a blast.
In L.A.?
No, in New York first. Before they went out to L.A.
At the Brill Building?
It was in the Brill Building.
Wow.
Yes.
Those were the days, huh?
Oh, yeah. Vinny, I tell you, I got great memories of those days. Really great.
A lot of rock and roll, right?
A lot of rock and roll.
My friend Ronnie, I called him because he used to be a pit boss for Caesars in Vegas, and I called him about the role. And I said to Ronnie, and he gave me some advice. And he said, back then, all the casinos were mobbed up. He said, so if you're working for a casino and Neil Bogart owed you money, that's why I don't want to tell you too much about the movie. But I talked to him, and then I was talking to Ronnie. I said, Ronnie, do you remember when we used to go see the Ronettes at the Brooklyn Paramount? Now, you weren't around then.
No, I was young. Yeah, I never went to the Paramount. I was young then.
No. But you remember the disco days. How old were you at the disco clubs?
Of course, yeah, in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, of course I remember, yeah. I had a couple of places myself.
What place did you have?
Well, out on Long Island. I had a place called Jupiter's. Then I had a place, Jupiter's was the big one. It was in Hempstead. I don't know if you remember. Another place that I used to go to all the time was Channel 80. Philly Basile used to own it. It was Paulie Vario's place. But yeah, I loved all those disco days, without a doubt.
They were great. We ran Peachtree's in New Rochelle and Marty and Lenny's across the street. And then I opened up my own club. I went in 1980, I opened up my own club for about 7 years, but I made it a rock and roll club, like down on Bleecker Street. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I didn't make no money.
But that's what you did for what? 20 years you were in the club business, no?
Well, yeah, because I went into the club business 1960, about 67 to 87. And then I walked out. I had a bad problem. I could talk to you about it. You know, I had to clean up my act. And I got into acting. And the acting, I was talking to my podcast, Dr. Drew Pinsky.
Yeah.
And I said, do you think that me going into the arts got me away from being addictive to coke? And he said, you weren't an addict. If you were an addict, you would have had to go to rehab. He said, but the arts gave you something else.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It gave me, like God, it gave me something else. It gave me a spiritual thing. So I was able to change my life, but it was hard.
Benny, what made you decide to go into acting? From the clubs to acting, how did you spur of the moment?
I was finished. I kept saying to myself, I kept coming home at night, trying to go to sleep 5 o'clock in the morning, all buzzed out of my mind, you know, from that life, saying, what are you going to do when you're 50 years old? You're going to be dead. I had to walk away, and I walked away, and I lost a lot of money, and I drove a truck, and then I started to think about getting into acting, and I ran a club for about 5 months. It wasn't working out, but Maddie and Kevin Dillon came in all the time and supported me, and the Dillon brothers talked me into getting into acting.
Really?
It was weird. We were watching Public Greenwich Village television, and Maddie said, you could do what those guys are doing. And he was pointing at Frank Vincent. And I wound up working with Frank, God bless him, for 11 movies, and then The Sopranos. And it was like, wow. And then Kevin sent me downtown, and when I was with Kevin Dillon in Saudi Arabia on a tour, Comic-Con, and Kevin said, I said, Kevin, you don't know what you and your brother did. You changed my life. He says, no, Vinny, it was all meant to be. And that's how a lot of people feel. It's all meant to be. But you don't see it in front of you.
No, but I agree with that. It was meant to be. It was just timing. Timing is everything in life, and it was your time. You know, I never realized, Vinny, I was looking at, you have done so much work in so many different areas. I don't think people realize that. You've done everything between movies and television and Dancing with the Stars. I saw you were going to get involved.
Dancing with the Stars, I didn't make it. But Broadway was crazy because, you know, when they do Chicago and New York, they always like to fill in every 3 months with like a celebrity to play the lead roles, you know. Everybody did it.
Uh-huh.
They decided to have Aida come in to play Big Mama, Aida Totoro. And I went in and played Amos, the guy who's married to Roxy. And I auditioned, and I got it. I got my union card. And then Bullets Over Broadway came along, and me and Tony Darrow, you know Tony.
Yeah.
Me and Tony were neck to neck. And Tony, you know, Tony and I go back from Goodfellas. He came out of the office with Marty, and he said, "You might as well go home, Vinny." He just gave me the part. And Marty did. He gave him Sonny Bamboo right in the office, because I went in, and I talked to Marty, and he gave me something smaller, but that's Tony. So now we're having final callbacks, and Tony's in there, and I hear him singing, because he had to sing and act. And he comes out, and he looks me in the face. He said, "Vinny, don't even bother going in."
He was confident, huh?
Thanks, Tony. So I go in, and this was Thursday afternoon. Saturday morning, 7:30, Tony calls me. Now, why is Tony calling me Saturday morning, 7:30? He said, "Vinny, I just talked to Woody Allen. He said he wanted to go with the fat guy." Now, I knew I had the part already. I said, "Oh, Tony, thanks for telling me. Is that why I got the part?" He says, "Yeah, you look more like Joe Vitarelli." I said, "Okay, Tony, okay."
That was a nice way of telling you, huh?
You know, and people think that we're real. The humor that we have in the film, you know, with each other on stage is real. I teach acting over at HV Studios, and now I'm doing Zoom, and I have a lot of wonderful, wonderful students for the past couple of years. And I say acting is learning how to take your own identity, your own stamp, and put it into the role that nobody else can do. I said, when you look at the great ones, you know, it was them. They created the role. Jimmy Stewart, Gary Cooper, Bogart, Cagney, Edward G. Robinson, the great ones. Spencer Tracy could do anything.
Yeah.
So don't ever be ashamed to take on a role that you think is too easy or you shouldn't be doing. It's another job. You know, if somebody hands you a job and says you only got 2 lines in the movie, well, let me see you do a good job with those 2 lines.
Right.
You know, because that's your work. And then you wind up starting off like I did, from doing extra work, from fighting on the sets with the ADs, because I was trying to say a line. They were saying, "You're an extra, shut up." I wind up working with Gotti, working on The Sopranos, just working with this Casablanca film. And I got a movie out now called Birthday Cake, which is good. Paul Savino's in it. And Lorraine Bracco.
Is it out already?
Yeah, it's out right now on demand. Birthday Cake.
Okay.
Val Kilmer, me, Joe D'Onofrio, Lorraine Bracco. It's good. It's about a crew in Brooklyn. I'm happy, you know, and that's why I wasn't pushing you off. I didn't want to talk to you, but I was doing this movie. My head's in that movie for that whole week, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it. Vinny, let me ask you this, okay? Because I have a real respect for actors, and I'll tell you why. For a lot of reasons, obviously, but for this reason especially. I've been a speaker now for 25 years. I can get up in front of 20,000 people, doesn't bother me at all. I have no issue with that. But I can't even read my own notes on stage. They distract me. So some guy, he wants me to do a role in a movie, and it was like playing myself. It wasn't difficult. But when I saw the pages of dialogue, I said, there's no way I'm going to remember this. And I'm not a dumb guy, but I don't know how you guys remember your lines.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Get your email, my email from your guys, and you ever have something like that, we'll Zoom each other. I'll help you. It's called memorization. You can't learn everything at once. You got to learn the first 2 lines and the next 2 lines, and you go back from the top. That's what I teach my kids.
Really?
I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to say his name, but you know the actor. Years ago, we're working on a project, and we were shooting in Larchmont. And a dear friend of mine had a major role, and he had like a 2-page monologue to do. He was on the set, and he kept blowing it. So they said, "Thank you. We're going to wrap for today." And they sent him home. And the next day, Roy Schneider showed up, and he was off book, and they shot the scene with him.
Wow.
You got to know your lines, buddy. So once you know your lines, then you're home. Like I have a workshop that I teach, and I say, like last night, we were on from 5:30 to 9:30 rehearsing for next week. And I said, you guys got to know your lines. I know you're doing Zoom. I know you can look down and read and look up. I said, but if you were on stage, you can do that.
Right.
If you were shooting a movie, you couldn't do that. You got to learn your lines. I said, once you learn your lines, then you're halfway home. So if that's your only problem, Michael, that's not a problem.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Start up trying to memorize something like a menu. You don't have a problem memorizing lines. You think you do. What if I said we're going to shoot a movie tomorrow, me and you, and it's all improvisation?
No, improv I could do. No problem.
Yeah, so it's just like when somebody hands you a script, right?
Yes. If I got a script and I'm looking at it, I'm saying, how am I going to remember all of this? You know, it looks difficult to me. And I did it.
I did it. It's not easy. You know, it's not easy. And I think the older we get, the harder it is to retain all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for myself. 20 years ago, when we shot The Sopranos, and I had all those monologues and all those scenes with everybody, I could learn that stuff in like a day and 2 days.
Really?
Now it takes me about 4 or 5 days to really, really learn it. But I also think that I'm not as disciplined. See, you know, when you're starting off, you're hungry.
Yeah.
In anything, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
You know, now people call me up and say, would you like to audition for something? I said, no, I don't want to audition. Tony Sirico's the same way. Don't bother me. He don't want to audition for nothing no more. He doesn't even want to work no more. In fact, no, really, you know Tony.
Yeah. I saw him about 2 years ago. I did a little skit with him about Donald Trump, and he was a waiter in a restaurant. Even for those few minutes, we laughed and laughed and laughed. He's funny, I got to tell you.
Yeah. I love Tony.
He is funny.
I knew Tony. Do you remember the grand finale?
Yes, I do.
Well, I met Tony there. That's the first time I ever met him.
Really?
He was sitting at the front table. King Creole was playing.
Oh, that goes way back.
Yeah, it's opening night.
Yeah.
Because my friend Frankie LaGentana was partners down there.
Uh-huh.
So we were down there. Tony, he told me to clean up my act because we were doing something crazy, which you do back then. And that's the first time I met him. So, and he had black hair, all slicked back, white shoes, no socks. And then years later, I meet Tony through John Gallagher. We were working together on some films. And I said, then we did a play together. I said, you don't remember me? He said, I don't remember you. And me and Tony became best friends. I love Tony. David Chase was smart when he teamed us up. He didn't know he was going to do that. In the pilot, we weren't teamed up. The second episode, me and Tony go around looking for the car. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. I got to tell you a funny David Chase story. I got out of, I don't know him, but I had just gotten out of prison. I was on parole. And a friend of mine told me, come over to Universal Studio. He had a cottage there. He was doing some movies. He said, read some scripts for me because I don't want you to get violated. I had got violated once. He said, you got a year to go on parole. Just sit in the office, read scripts. I'll pay you. That's it. So I'm right next to Spielberg's cottage there. We're on Universal. And my agent at the time, Jack Gilardi, I don't know if you remember. You remember Jack from ICM? I don't know if you know him. You know, he used to be married to Annette Funicello. He was a big-time agent then. He calls me up and he says, this guy is doing a mob series, and he wants you to be a consultant. And I said, what's it about? His name was David Chase, and they were creating The Sopranos for Fox at that time. So I'm thinking, maybe it's something I should get involved in. Then I thought about it, and the guy said, no, don't do this. You know, it's mob-related. Maybe you shouldn't be involved. And so I passed on it. Shows you how smart I was, right? Never got involved. But that was it. I never spoke to him or anything else. But he did contact me. That was in I think it was 91, somewhere around 93. I don't remember exactly when. Maybe a little later, but somewhere around there.
Yeah. A lot of guys I know said that they were technical consultants for David.
Yeah.
I mean, there had to be.
Yeah, you had to be.
Stories from. Come on. He used to ask Sirico a lot of questions. Actually, yeah, Tony was almost considered his, like, advisor.
Well, I got to tell you, Sopranos, I mean, that was the series that really started all of these great series. That was the groundbreaker. It was unbelievable, really. Let me ask you this. I just watched as a matter of fact, I'm going to review it, Funhouse, the episode where you got killed off. You did a great job in that, by the way. How did you feel about that?
About knowing that it was going to be the end for me?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't even know they were going to third season. So it could have been the end for everybody.
Really?
Yeah, and David Chase talked about it on the Sharippa and Imperioli podcast. And he said, because they asked Sharippa backs me up a lot. He said, why did you get rid of Vinny? He said, we didn't know we were going to have a third season. We were going season to season, the first 2 seasons. So in between the first and second season, which we didn't think we were going to have, I called up Vinny and I told him we're going to write his character strong, but he's going to get whacked. You know, even though we all had 7-year contracts, you don't think any show is going to go 7 years.
Yeah.
So I said, fine. And let's go back to Tony Sirico. We're in Italy, and Timmy Van Patten had arranged for me to go over to shoot this scene that never made the episode when they were in Italy, because I couldn't really be there since my character was in New York having a problem with my wife. But Timmy wanted me over there, and David was doing his cameo where he's sitting at the table with his cappuccino, and Sirico says, "Commendatore," something like that, and David just stares at him. And during the break, Tony says to David, "You really going to get rid of Vinny? You really going to, on? He's family. You can't get rid of Vinny." And David said, "I'm not getting rid of Vinny. I'm getting rid of Big Pussy. Stop asking me." But that's Tony.
Yeah, huh?
You up, man. He'll back you up.
You went to bat. Well, I got to tell you, that whole episode hit home for me. You know, just the way the informant, the whole thing, the way Tony found the bugs in the cigar box, remember? And that whole scene on the boat was very intense. Really. It hit home.
And you wonder, because God bless Jimmy, because he called me up the morning they announced the Emmys of that season. And Jimmy says to me, "You got robbed." And I said, "Why? Robbed from what?" I took him at my house. He says, "No, I just watched the Emmys. You didn't get nominated. You didn't watch it." I said, "No, I wasn't watching that." He said, "You got robbed." That was, if I had any chance ever to get any kind of an award on my own, that was the year for maybe Best Supporting Actor in a TV series. But the year before, and I got it. I'm going to show it to you. You see, there's my SAG award.
Yeah, I see it.
We got this, Michael.
What is that?
This is 2000. This is Screen Actors Guild, Best Ensemble.
All right.
You know, they gave it to us, and you bring it home, and we went on stage, and you wonder if you're ever going to get something like this again in your life.
Hey, you deserved it. No doubt.
So that's what it is. And you look back and you say, I was part of something that was unbelievable. It was great. I mean, we talk about Gotti, we talk about that, but Sopranos became almost a lifestyle for people. Every Sunday night, eat macaroni, fighting with their wives, turn off, don't talk to me, I got to watch the show. My sister used to call me up in the middle of the show. What's going to happen next? I said, Sally, I'm putting the phone on. I got to watch my show. I didn't let nobody come over my house when I used to watch it.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch it. I wanted to see what happened from taking the character from the page into the film. You know, I wanted to see. And because, you know, they do a couple of takes. You don't know which one they're going to use.
Right.
But that scene when I'm in the booth and Sirico comes over and hits me, and I said, was this information? I did a take, and Chase said to me, do it again, but don't beg. He said, those guys don't beg. And I didn't beg.
Yeah.
Beg as much.
Yeah, I like when you said, don't shoot me in the face. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, of course I do. But some of that was made up. The line when I said, I got to sit down. Yeah. I just was feeling dizzy.
Really?
I was really feeling dizzy. Yeah, I don't know. You know, when you get into this world, I mean, I love acting. I really do. I really do. You know, we were talking before we came on camera. I met you down on 6th Avenue. Vinny Vella used to do a thing. I think it was Monday nights and Thursday nights.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. And I was with this girl I was dating, Lisa Regina, and it was my birthday. And I met you, and I was with Frank Vincent.
Wow.
You with your father. I think Sonny was there.
Could have been, yeah. What year was that?
Then I met your father when I was working with Danny on Thing of Oz.
Right.
Then I met your father and Mickey Blue Eyes. He was on the set every day. I think your sister got in the movie.
Yeah, he showed me a couple of pictures with you and my dad.
But what was her name? Liz Hurley?
Yeah.
She loved your father. After we finished working, we used to go sit in this room, and Sonny and Liz would sit next to each other, and we'd eat like it was like, a family dinner. It was funny. She loved him.
Hey, you know how often he told me about that? He said Liz Hurley's in love with me. Oh yeah.
True.
He told me that all the time. I used to say, Dad, take it easy. You're a married man.
But it was true.
Yeah.
We had a good time. I was out there with Cha-Cha, Frankie Pellegrino, God bless the soul, Jimmy Kahn. It was good. It was a good shoot. Yeah, Jimmy Kahn was great.
Yeah.
You know Jimmy, right?
Yeah, he's a great actor. Terrific.
When I was doing that show, Vegas, with Jimmy,
Uh-huh.
a PA knocks on my door, and she said, your ride is here. I said, my ride? Yeah, to the set. And Jimmy was down there in a golf cart waiting to drive me to the set. He said, come on, Vinny. Yeah, I says, oh, Jimmy, how'd you know I was on the job? He said, I asked for you.
You guys have a lot of fun in these films, huh? A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If you would you consider doing another series?
Oh, yeah, I'll do it with you. Let's do it. What do you want to do?
Well, I got one pending. That's why I'm asking you. They're doing
I don't want to get in trouble now, because that's how you get in trouble.
No trouble. You with me? How you
get in trouble? Come on.
How you gonna get in
I
trouble?
got in trouble by telling somebody I could do something, then I couldn't do it.
No. Well, listen. If you're gonna make a commitment right now, then I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yeah, well, that's why I got in trouble. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Michael, right on your show, if you create a project for me, and as long as you go along with Screen Actor Guild rules, because I'm on the board, I'm working for you.
Okay, let me tell you this now. That's almost a commitment. Kennedy Marshall, you know who they are, right? Frank Marshall?
Yeah.
You know, the big production company. Ron Shelton is the writer.
Yes.
And we've been working on it for 14 months. They just delivered the final draft. It's a TV series of the pilot. We just got it, and they're starting to cast now. So Frank is bringing it to, I'm not sure what network he's bringing it to, but it's all starting now. I've been working on this for 14 months.
I want to do that job. I got to be crazy.
Why?
I got to be crazy if I say no.
Yeah, that's right. You got to be in it.
Right. I'm going to tell you, there's a couple of jobs that were coming along during the pandemic. And after the pandemic, I said, I can't do it because I didn't want to travel. I was freaking out. I don't want to get on a plane. But that's all over now.
Yeah, we worked through the entire pandemic. That's when we developed it all. It's good, Vinny. I got to tell you, they've been approaching me for about 20 years. People coming to me to make a movie on my life. It just never felt right. But when I sat down with Frank Marshall and Ron Shelton, they were talking about a movie, and then he said, you know what, there's too much content here, Michael. This has got to be a television series. It's about me and my dad, all this, but they did a great job on the pilot. I'm really happy with everything. They got three...
Well, you're better off with a television show now because of what happened with the pandemic. People are home more, watching television. They don't want to go to the movies no more.
Exactly.
The movies are doing bad. They're closing down theaters. AMC, all these places getting closed down. People are going to stay home. I teach on Zoom. Podcasts are on Zoom.
Right.
They're on the studio. I know you asked me to come out there.
Yeah.
You asked me to come out?
Yeah, I wanted to sit with you.
Why don't we work this out? I'm going to write on that. Now you got me on tape. That I'll come out and we'll go to dinner and we'll talk about this project.
100%. As soon as you're ready. We're ready. I'm serious.
I can come out in August.
August is good. I'll be here. You just let me know when.
You want to talk to me directly? It's better that way, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, all right. So get everybody to give you my information.
All right, you got it.
Because it'd be good. Who else are you going to try to get in?
I don't know who they're looking for all, good names.
Well, you got to ask them if they want me first.
I want you. What do you mean?
All right, Michael. I got a job.
They'll want you for sure. No doubt about it. Here's the only thing I told him, and I told Ron, I said, look, if I'm going to do a movie about or a series about myself, I'm a bug for authenticity. the actor's got to be authentic, and that's you. You know, and there's plenty of roles in there. You're perfect for it. I'm committing myself on camera too. How's that?
Well, now that I got gray hair, I think I got to play a boss.
That's okay. You could pull it off. You were never the boss before, right?
Yeah, I did a bit with Willie DeMeo, but he didn't use my scene. I was a boss, and he says, "Oh, I got something for you as a boss." I never really played a boss yet, but but there may be something else a little more colorful.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. This is gonna be based on real people, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So you figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
And you figure it out.
I got something in mind already, but I'm not going to expose it yet.
No, good. Because I think we'll let too many people know right now that I'm committed with you, but that's okay. I don't care. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, you got it.
The only thing is that, what happens is that we talk about your father. I worked with Danny Provenzano, who was a sweetheart, on a project, and it was Thing of Ours. And it was good. And then Danny and I had a problem because I got sick. And today, Michael, I just got a hormone shot. Now, you know what those hormone shots are for. They keep telling you, they fight the cancer.
Yes.
So while I was working on my Broadway play at rehearsal, I wind up having cancer, prostate. And I had to go take it out, and I went through radiology. So Danny asked me to do a project with him. And I said, yes, but the day of, I couldn't get out of the bathroom because of the radiation.
Yeah.
And I was snowed in, and me and Danny had a big problem, but we settled. We made up. And I could talk to you about it because I know a lot of his friends watch the show. And Danny's he's my dear friend now. We made up, man. And that's what people do. You went on. But you got to be careful because Danny was right. He said, Vinny, I raised the money with your name and you didn't show up for work. I said I was sick. But that's the same thing, Michael. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, you better be there. And that's what I even tell my students. If you and this kid's supposed to rehearse tonight because you have a show tomorrow night and you don't show up for rehearsal, you're hurting that person. So when I couldn't go to work that day, yeah, I was sick, but I hurt a lot of people. And that's why when time goes by, after everything calms down, and you look at each other, when I see Danny and we talk, you realize that you're men if you make up.
No, you're right, Van. And let me tell you something. Danny's a nice guy. But look, I got to tell you this. When it comes to health in a situation like that, especially with cancer, unfortunately, I'm very familiar with that. That's a whole different issue. I mean, when you're sick like that, what are you going to do? Obviously not intentional when you don't show up, but that's a rough thing to deal with, cancer. I've seen too much of it, so I get it.
Yeah, I was supposed to do this show after the pandemic. Well, not after the pandemic. It was in October up in Rhode Island. I go get a PSA test. My doc says, Vinny, your PSA is 12. I said, how could that happen? He says, well, the pandemic, stress, blah, blah, blah. I want to send you in for an MRI and all that stuff. I said, what are you talking about? He said, Vinny, I want to make sure it didn't get into your bones. So I called up Rhode Island. I said, I can't make it. So they sent Federico. And I went for my test. I was scared, man. I was scared. So then he brought it down. So today I go in, and I didn't want to go in. Dr. Stephen Charles, he's sweetheart. He said, I'm giving you a hormone shot. I said, you didn't even check my blood. He says, I'm just going to give you a hormone shot. Go, get out of here. It's only going to help you. Now, do I want a hormone shot? No, because it makes you cranky. It hurts your sex drive, but guess what? It's fighting the cancer, So, and then tomorrow I got to go in for health for my heart but it could be the heat. You get old, you get scared. But if you can't go to work for somebody because you're sick, people got to understand that. But if you're making a production company lose a lot of money, No, I get. Vinny, let me ask you, do you want this? Because if you don't want this on camera, we won't put it on there. It's up to you. Anything that you just said about the cancer. About no, about the cancer. Are you okay? No, the cancer's good to talk about. You all right with it? Okay. I got a friend of mine, her husband, he's a musician. He played with Chick Corea and everybody. And this woman, I'm not saying her name, she's on The Sopranos. during the pandemic, she said, "Can you talk to my husband?" Because she knows I'm a cancer survivor. Because I'm a survivor. It didn't come back.
Right.
I had it in 2014. It didn't come back.
Terrific.
Did I get scared? So I consider myself a survivor. So I get on the phone. I talk to Roger. Or now I tell you his name, but I didn't say his last name. I said, "What's going on?" And he's telling me. And I said, "You're going to beat it." "Well, I got to go through radio." I said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "You're going to beat it." And then I called him last week. I said, "I'm going on for a hormone shot." He said, "Yeah, they got me on hormone shots." I said, "That's okay." Now, I know a guy. He was a wise guy. He was good friends with my father. He lived till he was 92 years old. And my doctor today said to me, "I kept so-and-so alive till he was 92. Just take the shot. Where do you want it? In your ass or in your belly?"
Well, listen, I got to tell you, my dad passed away, right? Did you know that?
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Didn't they let Sonny out and let him come home?
Yeah, he got out he was 100 when he got out in 2017.
Yeah.
He was home for 3 years. He passed away last February during a pandemic. But I want to tell you, my dad had prostate cancer for years. But it never went anywhere. It stayed in one spot. It never metastasized or anything else.
So he never had the prostate taken out?
No, he didn't have it taken out.
He lived with it. Well, you know why? Because your father was a bull.
Yeah, I mean...
He was strong. He was a tough guy. Nah, not that I'm a big pussy, but your father was a tough guy.
He was a tough guy, but you know what I believe in? He was pretty healthy, even at 103. All of a sudden he goes, this was February of last year, all of a sudden he goes into the hospital. Within 5 days, he passed. I believe he got the COVID, and we didn't know what it was back then because it just started.
What month was that?
February of 2020. That's when they just started to talk about it.
I was teaching March 11th. They closed down the school, and they closed down the city March 13th.
Exactly. So a month before that, we still didn't really know what was going on because he was healthy. All of a sudden, within 5 days, gone.
Wow.
And I started to think about it afterwards. And everybody's saying, well, Mike, he's 103. What do you expect? And then I started thinking, well, wait a second. But he was healthy. He beat pneumonia twice. He got pneumonia twice in jail. He beat it twice. So he was strong in that regard. Then all of a sudden, so that's what I believe. We don't know, for sure. But anyway, he lived with prostate cancer for years and never went anywhere.
Yeah, well, Woody Allen said to me one night, it was at the opening night, we were doing press, and Woody was walking, it was in the Museum of Natural History, it was weird. And I pulled him over, we were standing next to one of these pyramids or some shit. And I said, "Woody, I got to talk to you." He said, "What?" He said, "You did a great job. You did a great job." I said, "Woody, I've been fighting cancer. Thank God for Susan Stroman, the director. She's talked me into not quitting." He says, "What kind of cancer?" I said, "Prostate." He said, "Well, if you're going to get cancer, that's the best kind to get." Okay, Woody, make a joke out of everything, You
want to know something?
But yeah, he was right. You could live with that. I'm not. Your father lived. I'm okay. I don't fear the cancer as much as I fear the heart with this heat and all this stuff. That's what I fear. But I got to stay healthy. People say, "How do you stay healthy?" Well, I don't eat macaroni 6 nights a week no more. I don't eat heroes. I'm eating 1 meal a day.
What about pizza?
Well, unfortunately, the pizza shop out here on City Island went out of business, so I got to go off the island to get a slice of pizza. So I go once a week. I go. Where do you go?
Here's what I'm going to tell you. You don't know this, but when you come out here in August, I got a pizza franchise. It's called Slices. We got 6 stores now. We're going to open up all around the country, and I guarantee it's one of the best slices of pizza you ever ate. How's that?
You got pizza franchise?
Yeah.
You know my friend Richie?
Yeah.
You know Richie, Mulberry Street?
Yeah, of course. That's how I got to you, through my friend Jay, who knows Richie good, and that's how we got this connection.
Richie's got a place opening up in Vegas in September.
What's it called?
Mulberry Street Pizza in a new casino. I sent him a Soprano picture to hang up. I grew up with Richie back in the disco days.
Uh-huh.
And then he was with Kathy Moriarty and at Mulberry Street Pizza, and then he went up with Raquel Welch. I don't know who he's with now. He's an old-time friend. A lot of guys don't like him, though, but I love him. What are you going to do?
Well, I got to tell you, I bet you my pizza's better than his. I'm throwing down the challenge. How's that?
We should have a challenge I don't know, somewhere. Cafe Roma, somewhere.
Cafe Roma.
Yeah, I would love to come out and talk business. I'm serious.
No, so am I.
You know, anything I said to you on your show, because I have my own podcast, and sometimes after I do the podcast, I say, you know what, I shouldn't have said that, but I don't think I said anything tonight with you that I actually needed edited. You know, if anything, we can encourage people to get the PSA checked, and, you know, about the cancer stuff, the Danny and Vinny story. I got a feeling me and Danny are going to probably make a movie out of that.
I'll tell you this, along with the cancer, let me tell you, 1996, right? I'm not a sun worshiper. I like the warm weather, but I don't sit out in the sun. I just never did that. I go on boats and all of that, but I'm not a sun worshiper. My wife notices this little spot on my leg, right? She says, go to the doctor. I said, I don't worship sun. She was worried that it might have been a cancerous spot. I said, no, I'm not going. Go, I'm not going. Finally, she bothered me so much, I go, right? It was a melanoma, believe it or not. And they had to cut it out of me in 1996. The point being, when you think you got to go for your checkups. There's no doubt about it. I go for my annual now. I had to go every 6 months for 5 years after I had this cut out. But people that don't go for their checkups and they're silly. You got to go. There's no doubt.
My father, Johnny, lived till he was 97.
All right.
What kept him going, Michael? Gallon of wine. My father was a bookie, you know, and he was one of a kind. And he's lying in bed, 97 years old. We knew we were going to lose him. And the phone rings. And this guy, Fat Frank, calls. And I pick up the phone. What's up? Your father there? I said, yeah. He talks to him. Yeah, you can come over. I said, what's that about? He says, coming over. I said, for what? He needs some money. I said, you're not going to nobody, no money. I said, you're not going to be here next week. He said, you go collect. I said, no, I'm not going to go collect.
I got news to you. The old timers were, my dad, for some reason, Vinny, he believed in vitamins. When we were kids, he used to chase us around the house with cod liver oil. He made us, like the little rascals, he made us take cod liver oil. He would take 25 to 30 pills a day. We thought he was crazy. My mother used to harass him all the time. Meanwhile, he lived to 103. So he must have known what he was talking about.
I take a lot of, that's all I'm living on now, vitamins. I'm trying to get away from prescription meds. I went to my diabetic doctor and she said, I'm taking you off of metformin. I said, thank you. She said, what have you been doing to yourself? I said, I'm watching how I live now. The pandemic shook me up. I think this pandemic really shook up so many people. Families are closer again, and people are reaching out, and we're starting to think a little, and we're watching our health. I would love to live as long as my father and your father did, but I don't see it in the stars. I say maybe about another 10 years or something. So I'm going to enjoy myself.
Well, let's see. Who knows? Hopefully it's more than that.
Why don't you come on our show now? You owe me.
Hey, you're pulling a reverse on me, huh?
Your show, Michael.
Vinny, anytime.
Okay, I'll have Christian hook it up, and you come on and we interview you.
Anytime. I'm ready.
I would love it. The guys in New York would love it.
That's a deal. You call me, I'll be there. I just made a commitment to you, so we both committed to one another.
I made a commitment to you as well that I'm going to be working with you.
That's right.
It's not a commitment. It's like, okay, we're gonna start doing things together.
Excellent.
And I think that's nice. It's a nice way to start off the 4th of July weekend.
Vinny, I would look very forward to it. I mean it. So you're going to come out here?
I'm not just saying this.
No, I believe you. You're old school like me. We say something, we're going to do it. That's it. Yeah. I'm going to depend on seeing you sometime in August, whenever you're scheduled.
When I come out there, we got to have that face-off with Palmer.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yes, we got to do that.
Absolutely.
We should do it across the street. What do you want to do? In front of your joint or in front of his joint?
In front of my joint. I'm new. I need the promotion.
You got to come over. Like me and Frank Vincent, we did a movie called Tale of Two Pizzas, and they judged the pizza. Who had the better pizza? So who's the judge? I can't be the judge.
No, you'll be in trouble. I'll bring the judge. That's all right.
Well, I think you and Richie, there should be a couple of judges.
We'll have a couple. I guarantee I'm not even worried.
Well, that'd be great. He'll love that.
Listen, I tasted his pizza. It's good, but mine is better. I can tell you right now. So I'm not worried. I'm going to win. Plus, I'll tell you this.
I got to taste it. Slice versus Mulberry Street Pizza. Is it cheaper?
No, it's probably no. I cost more.
Richie charges a lot of money for his pizza.
How much is a pie? Do you know?
I don't know, but he cleaned up during the pandemic. That's for sure.
Oh, I guarantee I'm more expensive, but it's a better piece of pizza. You got to pay for what you got. You know that.
That's right. Like anything. Wait until we negotiate my fee for working with you.
That's between you and Frank, but I'll be there. Don't worry about it. I'll help you out. I'll back you up, Vinny, because I want you in there.
All right. I just want you to send me when the show is on a clip so I can sit back and watch the interview. And I'm going to hold you to coming on the Forget About It podcast with me and Johnny over the summer. And we could talk about some things and we could have a lot of fun. But let me know who's going to handle it. Jay, that guy Jay? About me coming out there.
I'm asking my guy, Kurt, how we deal? We're dealing through Jay?
No, we can all just connect.
Yeah, we'll all connect. No worries. We'll get to you.
Okay, yeah. All right. I'm running around with my band for my birthday up until July 18th. After the 18th, I'm free.
So right after the 18th, give me a holler. We'll plan to go on your show, and then you'll plan to come out here.
Yes.
Whenever you're ready, sometime in August. August will probably be the perfect time. We'll be ready at that point.
I want to come out in August. Yeah, I'll tell Bob McGowan I'm coming out. In fact, you know what we could do with this? We could let Bob know, because he's L.A., he's on Sunset Boulevard. We could let Bob handle everything. He's a good guy, you know. Yeah, that's how I got Hawaii 5-0, because Sirico couldn't do it. You know why? Same thing that you were talking about. He was having a problem learning the lines.
Really, huh?
He said, Vinny, you take this. I can't do it. So they threw it. Actually, it was funny. I was lying on the beach doing a scene with Scott. Scott comes up to me and he says, "Where's Tony?"
He disappeared.
Tony used to live with Jimmy in the house in L.A.
Did he really?
Yeah. He says, "Where's my Uncle Tony? We wrote this role for him." I says, "He couldn't come out. I'm here." He said, "Okay."
Crazy, man.
Okay. I'll see you on my show. And I really want to come out. When Christian said Michael wants to fly out, I said, that's wonderful, but why? Now I have a reason to come out. We're going to have a pizza contest, and we're going to talk about this project.
Let me ask you, do you know Ed O'Neill?
I know he used to work with Louis LaRusso back in the day.
Yeah, Married with Children, all of that. You know Ed?
Ed, when he did Knockout with Danny Aiello. Yeah. That was a long time ago.
He's a wonderful guy. You would love him, Maybe we'll all get together. We'll have some fun.
Okay.
But listen, I'm looking for that face-off with the pizza now. That's a challenge. I'm up for it.
Or you want me to tell Richie, or you going to tell Richie?
No, I want you to tell him.
I'm going to tell Richie I was doing Zoom with Michael, and he wants a face-off.
Face-off. Yeah, I got 2 stores in L.A. Slices versus his pizza place. Hands down, I'm ready.
I think it's a great idea, but it's not up to me.
Huh?
Up to him.
All right. Well,
if he says I don't want to do it, what are you going to do? But he will. Why wouldn't he do it? Come on.
We'll have some fun.
We have some fun. That's all. We'll fix it.
All right,
We'll fix it. We'll fix the contest.
All right. Listen, when's your birthday?
July 14th.
Happy birthday.
When's yours?
I just had mine in May 27th.
Okay. And how old are you, Michael?
70.
Now.
70.
You're not 70 years old.
I am.
How are you 70 years old?
I'm 70 years old.
So we did grow. I'm 75, so we did go. Yeah, that's funny. We talked about a lot of things tonight that I'm not supposed to talk about, but I talked about it. So who cares? You know what? When the movie comes out, I don't know what they're going to call it, about the Casablanca records. You heard it first on my show.
Hey, I'm surprised they didn't speak to Hai Mizrahi is out here. Maybe they did talk to him at all, because Hai was trying to, I know he was trying to get involved in a movie about that at one point in time. He's out here now.
Richard Dreyfuss was supposed to play Morris Levy.
Oh, really?
But then Richard had to drop out for reasons, health. And what happened is it opened the door for me, because I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I am. My part got bigger.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it.
That's what happened to me on birthday cake, because Val couldn't talk because he had a procedure done.
Right.
He said, or somebody came up with the idea, let me whisper in Vinny's ear, and then he talks.
I'm going to watch that tonight, and then I'm going to review it. I do this Mob Movie Monday deal, so I'm going to review it.
Okay.
I'm going to review it.
I bet you like it's early Scorsese.
Okay.
It's early. Yeah, it reminds me of that. This kid goes on like an odyssey. Lorraine, his mother, makes him a cake every year and bring it to your uncle's house.
Uh-huh.
He's trying to take this cake through the neighborhood, and then he winds up going through all these things, all these guest stars, and then he shows up at the house with the cake. And spoiler alert, watch it, you'll love it.
I'm going to watch it tonight. So that'll be my next review. Not this Monday.
All right,
Monday.
stay in touch with me, Michael. I'm glad we talked today.
All right, Vinny. Yeah, you too. Be good, be healthy, and I'll see you soon. So right after the 18th, give me a holler, and then we'll plan it.
Yeah, I want to come out. That may happen before the podcast.
All right, you got it.
You know what's going on? I have a production meeting tomorrow. She's saying, my producer, I don't want you guys to have guests anymore. I said, what are you talking about? How could you have a show and not talk to a guest? What do you talk to? Each other. I said, that's boring. You got to have a guest. Like last week, we didn't have a guest. 20 minutes before the show, we didn't have a guest. So I called up David Paval. I said, David, I'm stuck. And David said, what do you want, Vinny? I said, you come on my show. He was great. David Paval, you know David.
Yeah.
He was a sweetheart. And I said, and we talked about Mean Streets for about 40 minutes.
Oh, cool. Great movie.
That was, and then we talked about that, yeah. All right, Michael.
All right, Vinny, I'll wait to hear from you.
Why don't you have a great afternoon in L.A., and I will see you soon. And it's really good that we talked, and I'll see you soon.
All right, buddy, you got it.
To look forward to.
You got it, buddy. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye, Michael. Bye.
Okay, so there it is. Vincent Pastore. I thought it was a great conversation. He's a great guy, on screen, off screen. He's just one of the A-list guys for me. Really enjoyed it. And if you saw now, there was a challenge in there. Slices versus Mulberry Pizza. Let's see if he takes it up. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. Let's see which is better. I'm not worried. I know who's going to come out on top. And Vinny said he's going to come out sometime in August. We're going to sit down again, and I'm sure we'll do it again, have another conversation, maybe a few other people that we'll bring on board. So hope you enjoyed it. And you know how I always leave you. Same way. Be safe. Be healthy. God bless. And yes, I will see you next time.